In April 2025, the Supreme Court ruled once and for all that a woman is defined by biology and not by gender identity. This was a landslide victory for many women's rights activists who believed that trans-identified females posed a threat to women and women-only spaces. Finally protecting women where our politicians have failed bending to the woke left agenda. This of course leads us to discuss our current Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. The juxtaposition of his political views are frankly astonishing. Once the head of public prosecutions in the UK, you would think he would be able to understand and acknowledge the loopholes which such ambiguity and the exploitation which this leaves it open to by the most depraved in society. However, his background as a human rights lawyer may have swayed his sensibilities somewhat, leaning towards the more marginalised side of society whilst ignoring nearly 50% of society. Yet here is where the rubber meets the road with this argument. To offer preferential treatment to one group is to discriminate against another. Unfortunately, we cannot ever live in a truly fair and equal society. This is not egalitarianism. And the sad truth is we can put in all the policies and all the laws in place as much as we like, we will never achieve 100% fairness. The communist regime has tried this for many, many years, and after around 94 million people dead as a result of communism, you would think we have learned that this doesn't work. However, it would appear that Keir Starmer quite evidently isn't sure or doesn't know what he actually believes. He was once interviewed on LBC radio that 99% of women do not have a penis, but there are a small percentage that do. He was incapable of saying, which we obviously know, all for the sake of not losing this small percentile of the vote, while equally alienating a lot of the rest of his demographic. And now we see large gatherings of the trans community protesting in Westminster given the Supreme Court ruling.
Toilet! Then I'm going to use another woman's toilet! Fuck you, J.K. Rowling! You'll never stop me from peeing! The only person that's shite is you! So we should all take a shite on you! You heinous cretin old bitch.
Sir Keir Starmer has nothing to say about that. For someone who prides themselves on upholding the law, he is very quiet. Further to this is the same man who condemned the actions of people who went out protesting following the Southport stabbings in 2024, labelling them as far-right thugs as they were concerned about immigration and the murder of 3 small children. Yet he has failed to address the public outcry for an inquiry into the grooming gangs which saw the systematic nationwide abusing of young children from primarily Pakistani and Muslim men. When it comes to sentencing, there seems to be no consistency across the board. Those who around that time posted and aired their frustration and upset on social media faced prison time, whereas high-profile celebrities such as Hugh Edwards, who have been convicted of viewing Category A child abuse material online, have been spared prison. And one could argue you can't call for violence online, and I completely agree, but I think in this sort of situation there has to be something like the Bandenberg test, which America have. Did this person's actions directly correlate to actions actually happening? Did this call for violence actually cause people to go out and commit violence on the back of what this person has posted online? And when our Prime Minister supports these people being thrown into prison, but yet he's silent when it comes to people watching and digesting child abuse material online, he's got nothing to say. And to address the hypocrisy of Sir Keir Starmer, the leader of the Conservative Party essentially called him out during Prime Minister's questions. Kemi Badenoch called out the Prime Minister, stating he bent the knee to every passing fad, only tells people what they want to hear. He is a weather vane which twists in the wind, and he cheered an ideology that denied safe spaces to women and girls because he thought it was cool to do so. And then my personal favourite, he hasn't got the balls. This is in response to Keir Starmer hiding behind the Supreme Court ruling in relation to what is defined as a woman, of course given his historical inability to define what a woman is on the LBC radio station. He is quite clearly using this new ruling to hide behind his flippant back and forth as to what is considered popular and what is considered correct. The inability for him to be able to stand for something is actually quite alarming for a leader. And do we really want a leader whose opinion changes like the wind? depending on what's popular or not. A true leader is someone who stands up for what they believe in. And as we can see, we don't actually know what Sir Keir Starmer believes in, because there's always some kind of political weight via this way or that way. And the ruling of the Supreme Court gives him an out. He doesn't have to have an opinion on this. He can say, well, the law is this. Again, when talking about the law, he's very selective as to how that law gets implemented and how it gets enforced, depending, it would seem, on what the offence is, and more importantly, who commits it. A true leader is someone who makes the unpopular decision at times because they know it is the best decision for the people that they serve and not the best position for re-election or job security. From the start, it would appear that Sir Keir Starmer wants to remain on the side of virtue and is actively trying to silence any dissenters to that virtue. And of course, all this is just my personal opinion, and at the time of this recording, it isn't illegal to criticise your supreme leader. However, under the Starmer government, if he had his way, it wouldn't surprise me if those laws came in. I don't believe that Keir Starmer is the right politician to bring us into a new age of prosperity of being British. And the irony is, on X, on St. George's Day, Keir Starmer posted a X post, whatever it's called these days, stating how proud he is to be British and how proud we should all be to be British. And yet, if I was to hang a George cross outside of my home, it would be perceived that the waving of a British flag, an English flag, is somehow hateful. And thus, that's probably why a lot of people don't do it, for fear of having the police knocking on our door, stating you've committed a hate crime. Somebody somewhere has perceived your patronage as hateful. And under the current laws and the current regime where Keir Starmer is actively pushing for more hate crime law legislation, more non-hate crimes to be recorded, this is quite likely. So whereas the Prime Minister can scream and say, we are proud to be British, we should be proud to be British, and we're proud to be English, his actions and the laws which he enforces state anything but. For a man who decrees the rule of law and states we should be proud of being British, he's doing a very good job at deciding which law he wishes to uphold, which inquiries he wishes to undertake, purely based on whether it is politically viable to do so. And as for being proud to be British, well, I'll leave that to you in the comments. These types of political commentary and political videos are posted first on my Patreon, and you can access these videos before anyone else by clicking the link in the description of this video. You can also take advantage of a 7-day free trial. Your support means the world to me, and without you, I can't do this. Have a wonderful day, and keep watching this channel.